The outdoor track season is officially underway, and that means it really doesn't matter how fast you win in 2024, because this year, we're going to have brand new world leads, and eventually, a brand new world champion. And I am aware that most casual fans think of the Olympics as the pinnacle of the sport. For that matter, not even just casuals. I'm not here to argue that point. That said, I really am trying to figure out, where did that put an athlete like Bryce Deadman? Because he was there at the games in Paris, as well as the games before that in Tokyo. He is a gold medalist in the men's 4x4 from both events. And I was as shocked as anyone when I thought that he put down a brand new world lead in the 400 meter dash. But before I break it all down and why it matters so much, I figured this is one of those moments where I owe it to you to give you the entire story. So here it is. I was on the phone with one of my friends who happens to be an Olympian and a former world championship medalist. And he said to me, "Hey, isn't it ridiculous that Bryce Deadman can go 44.3 seconds in the 400 meter dash and not have a pro sponsor?" And when he said it, I'll be real with you, I didn't fully get what he meant, because I thought he was talking about the man's PR, and his PR actually happened to be 44.22. But that's not what he meant. He was trying to tell me that Bryce Deadman had just dropped that performance, which is a brand new world-leading time. But unbeknownst to me, after I hung up the phone, I found myself poking around the internet, and eventually I landed on the page for Track World News, where they had highlights of a race where Bryce Deadman had just put down 44.3 seconds. And when I looked at the footage, I see Bryce Deadman running in a race that's clearly at a college meet with a bunch of boys from USC behind him. And USC ain't just a random college team. They won an NCAA indoor title, just won it, and are probably the favorites to win it again outdoors. But that's not the point. He's way out in front, and he's going to win that race. And he's just wearing a black singlet. Just black. And some pro combat shorts. As unattached as you could possibly be, to make it very clear that you are not a signed athlete. That is what happened. This is the same man who was just at the Olympics, last year, and the games before that. So now, I realize what's actually going down. Because Bryce Deadman is an Olympian. He is an Olympic gold medalist. Granted, it was in a relay, and that's part of the conversation. But the fact that he doesn't have a pro sponsor, and makes it very clear on his social media account that he is an unsigned athlete. How does that happen? Because it isn't just him. Many high school recruits who I talk to have it in their minds that they want to be Olympians, that they want to make it on the pro circuit. And I'm not blaming them. I understand them having that goal. I even had that goal back when I was in high school. I just had no idea what I was actually talking about. Because Bryce Deadman has done that multiple times. And gotten hardware. And he is still an unsigned athlete. When I tell you it isn't just him, just consider that Christopher Bailey, who individually qualified for the Olympics representing Team USA in the 400, which is very hard to do, he made the Olympic final in the 400. And even after that, he was still without a major pro apparel sponsor. He ran throughout the entire indoor season and won the World Indoor Championship. Only after that moment did Nike put their name on him. So when we see him at the first Grand Slam track meet, running what used to be the world leading time, because Bryce Deadman just passed it, he was wearing a Nike singlet in that moment. But that was just for that moment. Every other race I'd seen him in prior to that, he was not repping for them. Even Olympic gold medalist in the 100 hurdles, Masai Russell, opened up her season last year. Indoors, she was unattached. Nike eventually put their name on her, but I said eventually. And yes, the rest is history, because now she went over there to the games, came back with a medal, and dominated throughout the indoor season. What I am trying to say is that the current state of professional track and field, the whole situation with sponsors, well, I'ma go there. I'm not here to get upset at the system. I'm just gonna call it for what it actually is. Because when we say you are a professional track and field athlete, up until now, that term is very unclear what we're actually saying. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like, and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. For the most part, people think of turning pro as signing with a major apparel sponsor. If that is true, then you really need Puma, Adidas, Nike, or somebody like that, maybe even New Balance, to put their name on you. If, and I said if, you're going to qualify as a legitimate pro. If that's what we're going with, then is Matthew Bowling a pro? Because he's competed at World Indoor Championships, World Outdoor Championships. He's made USA Finals multiple times. But the entire time he's been doing it since college is over, he's technically been running as an unattached athlete. Just saying. And the reason why this system is incredibly backwards to me is I look at what other sports are doing and then compare it back to how track and field's model is set up. Just think about it this way. When LeBron James wears Nike, he's not a pro because Nike puts their name on him. They can slap their name on a whole bunch of people who don't play professional basketball. That just means they endorse for Nike. He is a pro because he plays in the NBA. That is the moment he became a pro, because if you travel all the way down to the back of the bench, there will be NBA players who don't represent for a major shoe company. I mean, of course they gotta wear shoes, and they probably pay for them out of their own pocket. And they might get a deal, but then again, they might not. It just is what it is. But their status as a pro isn't dictated on the sponsor out there. It's dictated by the league. But track doesn't really have a functional league like that, at least not until Grand Slam track showed up. I'm not saying that Grand Slam track is perfect, but it's the first attempt that I have seen in the modern era for someone to establish a league that puts guardrails in place, where you can't step on the line unless you are officially a pro. And when we say pro, we don't mean endorsing for Nike or Adidas or some major apparel sponsor. We mean you are not in college anymore. You are officially competing only against the pro circuit. Like, that's who you're measured against. And you belong in their track because you've earned it with the performances that you have already put down. And the real reason why that league is professional is because they're actually trying to pay the athletes some version of what they're worth. Where if you show up and show out in Grand Slam, you can actually go home and feed your family that year. When an athlete is unattached, even if they're incredibly accomplished, like compete all the way through the season and make it to a USA Championship final, and I bring up Team USA for a reason, because if you don't represent for Team USA, specifically if it's not USA or Jamaica, you're probably going to have a much easier time, especially in the sprints, to represent your team on the world stage. No shade, just being honest. Remember, the qualification rules that apply to Team USA is you only get 3 spots in any given event, no matter how talented your nation actually is in that event. That is how Bryce Deadman ended up not representing Team USA individually in the 400 for 2 Olympic cycles. He ran incredibly fast within the Team USA final, went 7th and 5th, which put him in the 4x4 relay pool, and even represented in the 4x4 finals. But at the end of it, he wasn't in the top 3 slots. Maybe that is why he doesn't have an apparel sponsor at this moment. But his talent is undeniable, and that's how he got to the top of the world leaderboards this early in the season. It ain't like he ran a whole bunch of races this year. He's likely putting himself in shape to go even faster, and maybe he's gonna get a call this week, next week, or the week after that. But it never should have gotten like that, not just with him, but with a whole bunch of other athletes. The system is the system. Somebody like me doesn't have the power to just go out there and change it. However, I'm not even that mad at the sponsors. They gotta do what they have to do because they have their own agendas and their own bottom lines. But the structure of the sport on the other end, the competitive end, that is something that can be addressed. The lack of structure in pro track is so significant that even when you do have a major pro apparel sponsor, you're likely going to spend some time, again, if you're American, this is going to happen. You're going to spend some time competing at college meets. Again, that's really what they are. And you're running in races that, for that matter, function as scrimmages. You're just putting down seed times, hopefully things that might qualify you or get you picked up to be in some of the bigger races that actually have prize money. And for the athletes who are unattached and maybe are fast, but maybe just not fast enough for whatever sponsors or the meet promoters are actually looking for, you might run your entire season at those one-off meets, the ones that don't actually pay you anything. you could show up to the USAs and make the final, and might even make a relay pool, and might even help Team USA come back with hardware. And after all of that, you'd still be looking for some source of income, because after all of that speed and all of that success, if you don't have a major pro apparel sponsor and a contract that goes with it, because just getting a contract doesn't mean it's lucrative, but hey, it's better than nothing. That might be where you're at. So I apologize that this video was a little bit different, because I actually care about the sport and I want to see it thrive. When I say thrive, I don't just mean any one particular athlete. I mean all of the athletes as a whole, at the professional circuit, for that matter the college level, and beyond. And no matter how we actually got here, this is the world we're living in, where Bryce Deadman is the fastest man in the world for the entire year of 2025 thus far, and he doesn't have a professional sponsor to his name, even though he does have an Olympic gold medal. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop, or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.